What if I told you that having perfect grammar isn't actually the secret to having great conversations in English? Well, today we're going to dive into some of the unspoken cultural rules that can really make or break your interactions. Honestly, mastering these is the real key to connecting with native speakers. Yeah, take this question for example. Have you ever wondered about this? Saying good evening is grammatically perfect, right? But if you say it to a friend, it can just feel a little off, a little too serious. So, why is that? Well, it's because English often cares more about the social tone than about strict formal rules. We're going to bridge these subtle gaps today and get beyond just what's right or wrong to really understand the cultural vibe. And our guide for this journey comes from a really insightful look at these common cross-cultural challenges. It reminds us of something absolutely crucial. Real communication isn't just about the words you pick, but all the cultural meanings that are packed inside them. So, here's our roadmap. First, we're going to decode everyday greetings. Then, we'll unravel that whole how are you ritual. After that, we'll tackle when to switch to a first name basis, and then the power of saying no politely. And all of this is designed to help you build much stronger connections. Okay, first up, greetings. I know, it seems super simple, but this is one of the very first places where those cultural wires can really get crossed. Now, what's so interesting here is the totally different approach. In Japanese, for instance, the time of day is a huge factor in which greeting you use. But in English, it's all about the social context. Is it formal or is it casual? That's why saying good evening to a buddy on the street can sound so strangely formal, almost like you're a TV news anchor signing off for the night. And this quote right here just nails the solution. The beauty of casual English is its simplicity. Hi or hello, these are your go-to all-purpose tools. They're friendly, they're effective, and they're pretty much perfect for starting almost any conversation. So, the main takeaway is this. When you're in doubt, a simple hi is your best friend. It just sets a warm, friendly tone right from the start. And this idea of reading the social vibe, well, that leads us right into our next topic. All right, let's talk about a phrase that trips up so many people. How are you? I mean, on the surface, it's just a simple question. But in reality, it's a social ritual with its own set of unwritten rules. Here's where the confusion happens. It's so easy to hear, how are you, and think the person wants a real, genuine update on your health. But nope, most of the time, it's just the second part of a greeting. It's like a call and response. It's basically a way of saying, hey, I acknowledge you, before you move the conversation along. It's all about speed and positive recognition, not a deep dive into your well-being. And here's the script for that ritual, the easy answer. A short, positive response is exactly what's expected. Something like, I'm fine, thanks, or pretty good, you? Perfect. It just completes the exchange smoothly, no extra details needed. And this is so important to remember. If you launch into a whole story about how you didn't sleep well or you've got a little headache, you might just see a flicker of surprise on their face. It's not what they were expecting, and it can kind of stop the conversational flow in its tracks. Okay, let's talk about names. English speakers tend to switch to first names really quickly, even with teachers or bosses. And I get it, that can feel pretty uncomfortable if you're not used to it. This slide just lays out the game plan perfectly. You can always start out formal with Mr. or Miss. That's a great sign of respect. The key thing is to just listen for that invitation. The moment they say, oh, please call me Sarah, that's it. That's your green light. So it's really crucial to see this for what it is. A positive, welcoming signal. It's not some kind of tricky test. It's a genuine invitation to have a more relaxed, friendly relationship. They're actively trying to make you feel comfortable. And that's really the heart of it here. I know some people worry that switching to a first name might sound rude, but in this culture, it's actually the opposite. If you keep using Mrs. Brown after she's asked you to use Sarah, it might come across as a little cold or distant. Accepting her invitation is absolutely the polite thing to do. All right, this last one, this can be the trickiest of all, turning down an invitation. How people communicate directly can just vary so much between cultures. This comparison just gets right to the point. An indirect refusal where you imply no without actually saying it can be really confusing for a lot of English speakers. They might not even realize you're saying no. A polite but clear refusal is usually way better, because it shows respect for the other person's time and their planning. And this is such a powerful and reassuring thing to hear. In many English-speaking cultures, it is totally okay and completely normal to say no to an invitation. honesty is really valued, and it's much better to give a clear no than a vague maybe that just leaves the host hanging. So, from greetings all the way to goodbyes, we've seen how these little cultural details can have a huge impact. Let's pull it all together and go over the key takeaways for building those stronger connections. Here they are, the 4 big keys. First, keep your greetings simple and friendly. Hi or hello, to set that warm tone. Second, treat how are you like a ritual and keep your answers short and sweet to keep the conversation rolling. Third, when someone invites you to use their first name, go for it. It's a great sign you're building rapport. And finally, don't be afraid to be politely direct when you have to say no. Remember, in this context, clarity is just a form of respect. At the end of the day, this is about so much more than just avoiding awkward moments. When you master these little social details, it shows that you understand and respect the culture. And that helps you build trust, rapport, and way stronger relationships both personally and professionally. So that leaves us with one final question for you to think about. Which one of these cultural gaps feels like the biggest challenge for you to handle in a real-life situation? Just thinking about that is the first step toward getting it right. I hope this helps you build some amazing connections. Thanks for joining me.